We're aging as a population. We are the oldest population in the history of humankind. Well, as far as records can demonstrate, anyhow, I assume that's correct. We're living longer, and because we're living longer, we're actually getting more addled. And primarily, I would suggest, because we're living longer, there is an epidemic or a bow wave, if you like, whatever word you want to describe, of dementia just around the corner. Throughout New Zealand, one of the most profitable, it seems, industries that is being underway at the moment are retirement villages with rest home attached and a dementia unit. And they almost seem compulsory in the new rest home and retirement villages that are being built now. And it is likely that many of us, as I'm talking to us now, will be affected as we live longer. I do remember in my childhood that getting to 70 was regarded as a good innings and a good life. But now 70 is, I just read somewhere, Josh, 70 is the new 50. I don't know about that. But anyhow, point is we are living longer, and therefore the impact of Alzheimer's dementia is becoming more prominent. And it will become a serious health issue within the decade, I suggest to you, particularly for health authorities and health funding. Well, there is world-leading research underway because it's best to find out what you're dealing with first. And one of those is from a group of New Zealanders. In fact, a major New Zealand study, billed as a world-leading program. We'll go and talk to the author of that just a second about why it's world-leading. But it has revealed that thousands of Kiwis are living with dementia but are undiagnosed. Oh, well, that explains it all, Josh. And not getting appropriate support. I think my wife is one of those, just quietly, Josh and I. The IDEA project, Impact of Dementia and Equity in Aotearoa, has just completed its first year, the biggest ever study of dementia in New Zealand. And as part of that, and it's really quite clever, 50 interviewers armed with an established dementia diagnostic tool, which we'll soon find out about, knocked on more than 20,000 doors in both Auckland and Christchurch, with interviewed more than 600 Chinese, Indian, and European people aged 65 and over who agreed. Well, the result of that, we'll find out. The lead researcher of this study and a director of the University of Auckland Centre for Co-Created Aging Research. She's also got the Joyce Cook Chair in Aging. There you go. Is Professor Ngaire Kerse, and she joins us now. Ngaire, thanks for joining us. Wow, why are you a world-leading program? What are you doing that nobody else in the world is doing?
So, look, thank you very much, Michael, for having this on your program. I think it's a really, really important issue, and the more we talk about it, the better.
Agreed.
So, in New Zealand, we sort of think we might know how many people have dementia, but there's never been a proper prevalence survey where you actually go out and find out. We rely on information from other countries. And of course, our New Zealand population is unique. You know, Māori, Pacific, lots more Asians than before, and we're all aging. Māori, Pacific, and Asian are aging more quickly and more successfully. And so our project looks at actually 4 different ethnic groups. There is a sister study run by Makarena Dudley, which is also knocking on doors where Māori might be. They have Māori speaking interviewers. In our study, we have Hindi, Fijian Hindi, Mandarin, Cantonese, and English speaking interviewers. And because they're all running at once, that's why it's world leading. People have done surveys of one ethnic group, but putting it all together like this has not been done before. And we're very excited, actually, and it's been very successful. We've got a fantastic group of interviewers. We go out to the communities. We talk to them about it, but first we have community events. People come, listen, decide it's okay. We've been on the radio and the TV, and that helps enormously. We're so pleased to be on the platform. We're starting door knocking in the North Shore of Auckland soon. And so that'll be another whole area. So It's important because we've got to know exactly how much dementia we've got, whether they're being taken care of at all. And then we want to use that information to improve the services that we've got. to actually co-create with those groups using the information that we get.
Okay, well, that seems all very satisfactory, and I might add, quite exciting. But take me through some of this to start with. I'm interested in the fact that some of your preliminary research showed that you discovered a whole series of people, in fact, tens of thousands of people who have, it would appear, dementia, or at least symptoms of dementia, but aren't or haven't received a
Well,
diagnosis and
let's
perhaps
just
are
break
unaware.
that down a bit.
Okay, sure.
So we've not done 25,000 doors. We've interviewed 650 or 700 now people. We have at least 100 who score in the way that we think is certain to have dementia. It is a proper dementia assessment that we use. It includes the informant. And we have noticed that some of them, I would say 30%, so that's not thousands that we've diagnosed, but if you extrapolate
Extrapolate.
that
Yeah,
out
yeah.
to the general population, it could be about 30,000 people who have significant cognitive problems, but either are not aware of it, don't want people to be aware of it, or actually have tried the services and the services are not acceptable, so they have withdrawn from their rounds of getting some help. And we think that the stigma of our society is a very, very important thing. The fact that people don't like the idea of getting dementia, the fact that people shun and denigrate and say nasty things about people with dementia, that's all really important. So the people don't want their loved ones to be branded with this term. So if we were all a kinder society and accepted people and involved people with dementia, it would be better for them and better for us.
Well, good
And
luck
so,
on that, really,
Michael, I want
because,
you to help with that.
well,
How
I was
can
just
we
going to
get
say
rid of
good
this
luck on
stigma?
that, because, at the end of the day, if you had, I mean, I know that if my partner had dementia or you'd want to know fairly quickly because there are methods out there, or there is science to suggest that you can arrest
Slow it down.
or slow
Yeah.
it down. Yeah, that's right.
Mm.
And one of those is the shingles vaccine, which I
Oh, that's
found
very interesting.
extraordinary. There's research
Yeah.
to suggest that if I go and get my shingles injection, I may, in actual fact, slow down the process of dementia. Is that correct?
Well, so the study was a very large study where they looked at the whole database of New Zealand and overseas, and they found that those who had had a shingles vaccine were less likely to have dementia. So it's
That's
uncertain, it's not a
extraordinary.
randomized trial where you're intervening and changing things, but there's definitely an association. Whether that shingles vaccine goes with other things related to not getting dementia, like being very health preventive, being very aware of health, doing more exercise, being a good citizen, that makes you less likely to get dementia, or whether it's actually related to decreasing inflammation in your body, because there's a biological theory that it's the inflammation around that is helping the dementia process in the brain. I don't know the reason, but that association has been discovered, and I think that's quite good because everybody in New Zealand is eligible for a free shingles vaccine in the year that they turn 65.
Yeah, no. Seriously, I'd be going. Listen, I've resisted having one. In fact, I had shingles 2 years ago just to make things worse, Nairi. But yeah, there you go. Oh, actually, I should add, is there a natural immunity? Oh, gosh, that's the next question, isn't it? Is my
You
immunity now?
might be immune already, actually, Michael.
Exactly.
That's good.
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
not a vaccinologist, so but I can say that I don't think you can talk. All the nurses and the practices know about whether you can still have the vaccine even though you've had shingles or not. Yeah.
All right. I think you can actually. I think there is still some sort of risk. I had a look at that. But boy, I'll tell you what, I'm off there to forestall the dementia, although there'd be certain in my family who would argue it started already. It's too late, Dad. Listen, just on that, dementia. My mother died of dementia. It
Right.
was a long-lasting death. It was dreadful. She became,
Hmm.
well, the zombie that she became, and it was not
Hmm.
only cruel upon her, but cruel upon obviously the family as well, and particularly her
Hmm.
husband, my father. Can I ask the question of you, and that is there a genetic, do you think, strain to dementia? Has there been any evidence or any
So
research on that?
yes, there's been quite a lot of research on that. There is a something called an ApoE gene, which gives you a higher chance of getting dementia. And there are some families, a very small number, who have a high likelihood of developing dementia. Otherwise, it's thought to be so-called sporadic, meaning that age is the strongest risk factor. So the older you are, the more likely you are. The genetic risk factor is part of it. You can't do anything about it, except perhaps stimulate your brain cells as much as you can so that your dementia shows up later. But yes, I wouldn't worry too much, Michael. Are you worried about that yourself?
No, I wasn't. I was just, it just raises the issue of, is there a genetic,
Yeah.
because I'm a bit of a believer. I mean, it's pure conjecture on my part, that when we finally track all diseases and all the ailments of the human condition, that genetics will be the strongest factor rather than anything else, and that you'll be able to predict that maybe in another 50, 100 years from now. I don't know, but that's just the reason I was
Well,
asking the question.
the jury's out for dementia, but there are a small number of people who develop dementia before they're 60. They're termed young onset dementia, and they, of course, have a longer course of disease because they're healthier and their brains
Mm,
and lungs
mm.
and hearts don't give out very quickly. And so that is more likely to be genetically linked. So
Yes, yeah.
young onset is more likely. Yeah,
Yeah, no, and dreadful that would be
good.
too. Listen, I'm interested though in the ethnic and cultural studies that you're doing. So
Yep.
if you go across the world, now you're obviously going down that line too, but if you go across the world, are there particular ethnicities or, yeah, ethnicities would be the best way of describing this, in which dementia flourishes or, and conversely,
Yeah.
takes longer to have effect?